Hello, my friends. I want to welcome you. I got to get rid of this. Oh, that's me. Hello, my friends. If it appears like we're just kind of playing around.
Live on Facebook, looking good.
Okay. For all my friends that are here, and I want to, we're doing a special promotion. I don't mean a promotion. We're broadcasting every Friday. I'm going to be sharing stories of top earning network marketers. Some of them are actually legends, in their company with everybody, and it's really appropriate that the first person that I bring up is my good friend George Ruiz. So let me bring George over, and basically, what we're here to do is I want all of you to hear George's story because George and I go way, way back. And now I just have to figure out how to get the two of us on. How do I get rid of this thing here on the side?
Just come out of full screen.
Come out.
How do I get rid of this?
Okay,
Come out of full screen.
This thing here on the side.
Just come out of full screen.
How
do I get rid of this? Come out of full screen.
This thing here on the side.
Just come out of full screen.
Well, George, you would be you would be on the first one. So let me. Okay, so let me come out of full screen.
Yeah, I can see you well in Facebook. I have another screen. I can see you well in Facebook.
Yeah. Well, I knew how to get into full screen. I don't know how to get out. Let me see. Network connection. Well, let's see what happens if I do. What I wanted to do. Okay, button at the bottom right. There's let me try it. George, I don't see a button at the bottom right.
To make it smaller or bigger?
No. What I wanted to do is I'm looking at the two of us, and then over. Do you see this over here on the right? This overlay with. I'll double click on the screen. Double click on this.
This overlay. Double click. Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
there you go.
So I got rid of that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, if I come over here, click on this, and this is share the screen. So if I do that, and I'm doing share system audio. Okay, and
Yeah, get out of there. You're all set.
Okay, and
Yeah, get out of there. You're all set.
Okay. All right. So now, how do I get rid of this thing over here? If I go to this, I want to go to full screen, and I want to get rid of this thing over here on the left. Or maybe I don't get rid of it.
Nothing.
I want to go to full screen, and I want to get rid of this thing over here on the left.
No, you don't need to do any of that. Just stay where you
I
are.
don't get rid of it. Nothing. Full screen, and I want to get rid of this thing over here on the left.
No, you don't need to do any of that. Just stay where you are.
Get rid of it. Okay. Nothing. Full screen, and I want to get rid of this thing over here on the left.
No, you don't need to do any of that.
All right.
Stay where you are.
We have a problem. We have a problem with some echoes, and okay, can everybody hear me?
Yep.
And George, you can hear? Okay,
Yes,
folks.
I can hear you.
Okay, folks, I apologize for folks. I apologize for the bumpy start. Okay, to be kind. But I want to welcome all of you to a series of broadcasts that we're going to be doing every Friday, 1:00, where I am going to be broadcasting to all of my friends and leaders on Facebook, simultaneously with all of my friends and network marketing leaders, master distributors on LinkedIn, as well as all of my subscribers on YouTube. Because moving into the end of 2021 and moving into 2022, a lot of exciting things are taking place in network marketing. As a matter of fact, they've been taking, ever since COVID hit the United States, network marketing is an amazing opportunity. And so what I wanted to do is I wanted to introduce you to some very, very wonderful people who have been friends of mine for years, who are using social media, America Online, MySpace, ICQ, Facebook, and now LinkedIn, as well as some of them are using Instagram, some of them are using Pinterest. They've all become top earners in their companies, and they've all helped other people, sharing their wisdom and sharing their knowledge, become top earners as well. They are wonderful people, and it's really almost appropriate. It's very appropriate that the first person that I do this with is probably one of my oldest students. In fact, I didn't know he was following me and using my information and training until I met him. I think maybe 5 or 6 years after he started, and I met him when he was one of the top earners in Isogenics, and he has subsequently left Isogenics, and now he's a diamond in another company, Viseo, and great guy. He's got an amazing story, and when you hear especially how ingenious he was when he actually got into his first network marketing company, I love that story. But he's a great guy. He's got a story that should, frankly, motivate anybody that is wondering, should I get into network marketing? Should I not get into network marketing? Is this something I can do? George, it's a pleasure, to have you here. And especially,
Thank you.
we did this totally last minute. Okay. I mean, I sent him a message yesterday and say, George, are you available? And so again, apologize for the quality of the transmission. But anyway, I want to introduce you to George Ruiz, very, very good friend. He lives in Texas, And George, this is going to go. Actually, it is wide, and I'd like to introduce you to everybody. So I'm glad you're here. So George, why don't you say hello and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yes, thank you very much. And yeah, we've been friends even before I met him. And let me tell you why. I came to the US many years ago. I came from South America. I'm from Venezuela. You probably heard a lot about Venezuela in the news. And actually came hired by a company. I was doing the business in Florida for people who are coming overseas, Spanish-speaking people, mostly in real estate investment. But one day the company disappeared, and they left me in the U.S. in an area that I didn't speak English at all. I could have moved to the East Coast in Florida, where I have some relatives, but I never was going to learn English. That's why I stayed where I was. I did all kind of jobs and washed dishes, wait tables when my English improved. Eventually, I got into real estate. I did well, but then the market one day moved against me, and then I went back to being a waiter, cleaning offices, cleaning restaurants, etc. And that's when I found network marketing. Now, when I started, I didn't know how the business worked. The person that sponsored me, he didn't speak English very well either, but he was from China. I didn't speak Chinese either. And that was interesting, the conversation that we had. And finally, both of us learned about network marketing from a book that he found, and he sent me the book too. And that was John Callen's book. I don't know if you remember John Callen's book was how to be rich with MLM or something like that. I don't remember what was the title of the book. But the thing is that we start building, and the old ways, like all of the ways. I mean, doing meetings in your home, presentations, etc. Eventually, my business exploded. But I was looking for something else. Now I'm a nerd in computers. Actually, I have a degree in computers that I got in South America. I got into American Online and also Prodigy. And I found out that there were groups there. And in one of the groups, I saw a guy, Max Sanger. He was selling training about how to sponsor people or talk to people in AOL. And I got his training. I think it's reaching hands through the internet or something like that was called. I still have it. It's a CD that I have upstairs. And I started following him. I started sponsoring people at the time when most people didn't have even an email. And I sponsored some leaders, and one of them, by the way, is interesting, still is with me. He became a million income earner with me. And I met him in American Online years ago. And then, of course, Facebook came, and that's when we connected first time in person. When Facebook came in, and I knew he was doing trainings on Facebook, I got so excited. I turned my team into his trainings and was around. At a time that still a lot of people didn't understand Facebook, but they didn't understand that was like any other tool. In this case, creating conversations, talking, getting to know new people, because that's the way we grow our business, always connecting with new people. And Facebook was the idea, especially if you wanted to get out of the city where you were building. You could build any place in the US or in the world where you have the company have people. And we grew very big. As a matter of fact, my group in South America and Mexico came because social media. We have thousands of people there. We have somebody in my organization connect with somebody in Malaysia. And that's the way that we started our group in Malaysia, part of Asia, in Singapore. We got over 400,000 people in our organization. And a lot of that was because social media. And many of the people were training with Max, many of the people on my team. Still, they always work, but it depends on how fast you want to go. You can go the old way, you still can do meetings, etc. But something happened last year, and some of you know what it is. COVID-19. COVID-19 only changed the way that we have to do the business because nobody wanted to. Now, I already was ahead of many people on some of them, other people too, because we were doing a lot of using social media. We were using Zoom for presentations. And it did affect us a lot. But then what happened, people started getting more into social media, people that never decided to go on social media. And we saw more professionals getting social media. And here's where LinkedIn comes so powerful, because at first, yeah, there were a lot of people, but the growth that is having in the last year is incredible, because people got more time to be on the computer. They understood LinkedIn. And because it's very friendly, because it's very similar in many ways to Facebook, and then what happens, suddenly the market grew very big for us, for network marketing. Sorry, I don't know what happened here.
Somebody's
Anyway.
trying to sign up in your business.
Yeah, probably is. And then what happened, our business, and then to give you an idea, I left my company before just a couple of years ago for personal reasons. It doesn't matter if it's a good company, etc. But for personal reasons, and we decided, okay, we had to build this. But when we decided to start building, guess what? COVID-19 came in. And it was a blessing because what happened, we created an incredible organization. I would say that 90% of the people that we have in our group is directly or indirectly related to what's happening in social media. As a matter of fact, my top leaders, all of them, we connect in social media. My top leaders right now, including one of my leaders that's already a diamond too, and another one that's really close to be a diamond. They came through social media. It's why social media is right now is probably the best way to grow your business without having to go to what many people are going to try to do to you. They are going to say, okay, just create campaigns on the internet. You have to pay for ads in Google, ads in Facebook. First of all, Facebook doesn't like business opportunities. If you are going to try to place an ad in Facebook, you are going to be blocked. Totally. The same happened with LinkedIn. You cannot have that kind of business opportunities. You try to do something similar on Instagram. Guess what? You can be blocked too. But the best way is do it the way that we did traditional network marketing, but we are doing online. It's getting new contacts, connecting with people. For those of you that are old-timers, and what I mean old-timers just 2 years ago or older, they tell you to join these breakfast clubs, to go to BNI, I think it was called BNI, all these groups where you were meeting other professionals in person. Wow, the cool thing about social media, you can do exactly the same, but without having to go anywhere. You don't have even to dress if you don't want to. And then you start connecting with people all over the world. You can choose only one of the social media networks. LinkedIn is powerful because these are people that are looking for ways to create an income or looking for a job or looking for something. These are professionals. These are people that are already educated. Instead, if you want to do just Facebook, that's okay too, because that's where we have a lot of our leaders. A lot of moms are looking for business. A lot of people want to work from home. And the cool thing is that we have platforms to do presentations today. You can have a presentation in 2, 3, 4 networks at the same time. Like right now, you can be in YouTube, you can be in Facebook, you can be in LinkedIn. That's really powerful. And then you can cover a big group of people. It's why the timing is incredible. I saw a video, this is a report, a documentary by CNBC that was called The Big Resignation. It came like 4 or 5 weeks ago. He said that there are more resignations today than layoffs. People start going back to work, they realized that they feel better when they were home, many of them. And now they're looking for jobs that they can work remotely from home. Other people realize that they didn't like to go back to work and they are changing profession. That's basically what this documentary talks about. Guess what? We are offering a person an opportunity here to create an income from home, and they can work from anywhere. We see a lot of what they call the new business nomads that travel all over the world. Guess what? You could be in a beach in Mallorca, Spain, if you want to, and you can build a business as long as you have connection. You don't have to have even a computer. Everything can be done with your smartphone. 100%. There were some limitations on smartphone until about 2 years ago. Those limitations are gone. You can do a full presentation with your smartphone. And as a matter of fact, many times we have done that. Full presentation. And you can connect with people from everywhere. And the cool thing is everything's in your phone. You have the people that you know, the members, etc. And you have also the people that you're connecting through social media. Some of you said, well, I don't like Facebook or I don't like social media because they're going to track me. Let me tell you one thing. If you pay one bill, it could be the electric bill, etc., you'll be tracked already. Think about that.
George, I wanted to share something with you because we're gonna talk about this on Saturday. But when you think about it, the first thing when you bring somebody into network marketing, what do? Make a list of your friends and you approach your friends. Now, when you do that and you call your friends, and maybe you went to high school with them, and we haven't talked in 30 years or 20 years, and right now they enjoy the fact that they hear from you. But as soon as you go into this, let me tell you about a business opportunity, you're busted.
Yeah.
And they give you all kinds of grief. I can't believe you bought into one of those things. You need to get a real job. And what happens is, since we're asking our new people to do that, it can be discouraging. So what's happened now is, because of frankly, everybody on the internet is on 5G, so we have the ability to share videos and everything else like this. So what happens is, your new recruit, if you've met them on Facebook or you met them on LinkedIn, they're already connected to people. Some of the people they're connected to, they know. Some of the people that they're connected to, they don't know, but they're connected. So you get them, like on Facebook, get them to change their picture. And when you change your picture, you get all kinds of reactions and responses. Get them to change your cover, or make a post. And the people that see it and react to it, some of those are people that we know. Some of it are people, again, people we're connected, but they're responding to that. And so when you go back to them and you start, you're basically saying, hey, I'm really glad I'm happy that you like my picture. We haven't talked since high school. And so what are you doing these days? The dynamics of the conversation change, because you're starting a conversation based on something they did. And now, what are you doing? And they tell you, man, I just lost my job. I'm looking, I want to send my kids to college. So the conversation changes. It's different, and you can easily move into talking about the business. But here's the best part: when they get in your business, we're not going to go to them and say, well, make a list, and then we're going to contact the people. No, all we have to do is get them to open up their settings, make them as visible as possible, and do exactly the same thing. And that doesn't mean we're not going to encourage them to reach out to people that they know. Take people that you're connected with on your telephone, but the approach is going to be different. And you, not only do you bring people in quick, but the whole process duplicates quick. And I remember George called me in September of 2015. Now, George calls me up and says, Max, do you know that LinkedIn has just added live chat? And I was always telling people, if you own, when I was promoting AOL, I made a lot of money in AOL stock, because it was growing, it was double, they were splitting. And so when I started teaching LinkedIn, I think it was 2010. They had just hit 90 million people, and it was just a resume. It was a repository for resumes. You were mailing back and forth. And so George, and I was always telling people, because I trained a lot, I was doing trainings for George's teams and George's group. And I just kept telling everybody, if LinkedIn ever adds live chat, buy stock. So here, George, there's no way that one person can keep up on everything that's going on. And so I treasure our friendship and relationship, because, he's always, Max, have you seen this? Max, have you seen this? And of course, it's reciprocal. So when I started, anyway, so he tells me, they just added live chat. And he's asking me, should I buy stock? I said, well, let's see. Now, because LinkedIn was real, their customers were really headhunters and human resource people. I was concerned that they'd be, the headhunters and human resource people weren't going to like this, because it was giving their clients direct access to, the people that they're trying to match up with. So we got to see. So in December, I was already teaching my students to use it, and the results were terrific. December financially was a bad year in 2015 for LinkedIn. But in January, I called my stockbroker and I said, so what do you think? And he comes back, and his name was George too. And he says, Merrill Lynch is bullish on LinkedIn. So I said, all right, so put me in LinkedIn. And so I had shares were selling for 92. It was fluctuating between 92 and maybe $103 a share. So I got in at $92. I had $50,000 worth of LinkedIn stock. And, because I figured, more and more people were going to use it, and it would attract more people and it would grow. And then June the 23rd, I got a phone call from my broker. And he says, how did you know? I said, what are you talking about? He says, Microsoft just bought LinkedIn. And the stock was now at $198 a share. Okay. So, so we got out of it. We took all our money out of that. And I took my family on a 2-week cruise. And that what we called it, the George Ruiz cruise. Because if George hadn't pointed this out to me, I never, I probably would have done it, but it's because somebody else would have told me. But George told me right when it was hot and right when it was fresh. And ever since Microsoft bought LinkedIn, what they have done is they have dissected Facebook. They've taken every feature that made Facebook great, which, by the way, Facebook is slowly torn apart. And they've added it to LinkedIn, to where LinkedIn, think about this for just a second. The ability to search for people, which is the big thing, to be able to go in and say, hey, I want to build my business. My company is expanding to Malaysia. So I can go on LinkedIn and I can search for people in Malaysia. Or, George, you're going to love this. What you do is change your setting on LinkedIn. If you want to build your business in Malaysia, just put yourself in Malaysia. Put yourself in Paris. Put yourself in wherever. And so when you start looking for people, the people in those areas come up. And I did a training for George's team maybe 5 or 6 months ago. I'm following. Some of them are really kicking it, and really 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 doing well. And so George not only has been a leader from the standpoint of sharing his knowledge and information with people, which is the sign of a leader. There are a lot of people that learn this stuff, and they keep it close to the vest. George is teaching his team to do it, which is the reason why he's doing as well as he's doing. And he's created George, why don't you talk a little bit about, I know you've created groups that you set up groups to, and by the way, let me just say that when, George and I have collaborated on a number of things, and it's impossible for me to know everything, and working with folks like George has just added to my knowledge that I can turn around and share, with all of you. So George, how are you using groups to train your team and build your business?
Yeah, this is in groups in Facebook, although we are expanding, testing the groups on LinkedIn, by the way. But right now, what we did, we created 3 groups. One of the groups is just for a team. Hold on a second, because my wife just came. Let me make sure. I'm in a conference with Max. Thank you. Okay. She just said hi, by the way. But anyway, one of the groups is just for our team. The other 2 are it depends if you have for example, in our case, we have health products, and we have one group for health products, and we have another one for business. But these are for prospects. And when somebody is connecting somebody on Facebook, they invite them to the group's products and business, or products or business, depending what the people are looking for. And there are already many people that are part of our team that are there. And then they see testimonials, they see products. In other words, they can even ask questions. One of the cool things is if you invite somebody to that group, when somebody starts asking questions, we know who invited that person. You right away refer to the person. Hey, some of the people are asking questions. They may not know that they are asking questions, but those are the prospecting groups that we have now. And that's one of the ways that we have. Of course, we have the team group also, where we have the recognition, we have the training, etc. One of the cool things also on those groups that you can do private presentation like the one that we are doing now. You can broadcast a meeting or a presentation on those groups, or you can if you want to have it in different places in Facebook itself. You can broadcast over a page, because you cannot, unless it's public, you cannot broadcast outside the groups or share, outside the group. But if you broadcast in a page or your personal profile, you can tell people, okay, share this presentation with everybody. And then what happens, that is like the old broadcast TV or radio, that many people are connecting, presenting the same presentation. And that works amazing on Facebook. And now, of course, with the new technology that you can be on YouTube and LinkedIn too at the same time. Imagine, it's super powerful. But that's the way that we use groups. And again, we've been testing. I'm starting to test the LinkedIn groups, because they have groups there too. Although they're probably are going to be a little different. But that's something that we are just testing. But like Max said, social media definitely is the fastest way to grow a group big, because it's much simpler to connect with people. And one thing, and that he said, Facebook is starting to have a decline. Now they changed the name. It's called Meta, because Metaverse. Now, Metaverse, by the way, it could become the future social media. It's not there yet. The same way when we have the MySpace. MySpace one time was huge. As a matter of fact, who would thought that MySpace one day was not going to be anything? And the same that AOL was huge before that. But every new platform become bigger and bigger and bigger. Still, Facebook is the biggest one, but LinkedIn is powerful for business. It's why, and we always have. But the cool thing, everything that Max teach, you can apply it in any platform, because the basics are exactly the same. Even this crazy metaverse that I was showing my wife yesterday, because that's the big talk right now, because it's in the blockchain, and as you know, crypto is in blockchain. Everything that's in the blockchain seems that it's going to explode. But it's going to be the same basic principles that Max teaches in his training. The same basic principles.
George, it's funny because you mentioned MySpace. MySpace grew very, very quickly because they were giving you your space. It was your page. You could do anything with it. The color, you had choices of putting all kinds of different information. It wasn't organized. People put things in different places. But the one thing that America Online had that made it so popular was they had an internal chatting feature. You didn't have to download anything. You could see all your friends who were members that were on it. MySpace didn't have, when they started, that internal chatting feature. It was an addition. You had to add it. It was a special download, and then you invited your friends to use it. And so there was a race. Here you got MySpace. People didn't use their names. We still use screen names. People put their pictures up. A MySpace page was a hodgepodge of information, but if you knew what to look for, you could find it, and you could search for people. It was wonderful. And then Facebook comes along, and the initial Facebook profile was clean. It was one page, but they added the concept of putting your name out there was huge. So, because they started with kids in school. So you had their name, you had their picture, you had their location. And in the background, my Facebook is they're working. They got their engineers working on that chat feature. In fact, they tried it like 3 or 4 different times. And so did MySpace. They were competing. And then in 2008, what happened was Facebook put it all together. They added an internal chatting feature, and they added a mobile feature at the same time. So then at that time, Facebook had 300 million users. MySpace had 380 million users. And in the next 2 years, Facebook would explode to 600 million users, and MySpace went away. And now what Facebook is a hodgepodge of information and material. And now what have they done? They've added Messenger over here on the side. So it's just amazing how history kind of repeats itself. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be about conversation. How much do you know about the person on the other end, and and how easy it is to make a connection and build a relationship. And there you are. I mean, George turned me on to the instant message, the chat feature on LinkedIn. Tomorrow, George and I are going to have a little private session, maybe this afternoon, depends on the plans my wife has for me. And when I show him some of the new things that LinkedIn has done, it's going to complement all of you that are working with Facebook. You can't search for people on Facebook anymore. They've torn that. They've shredded that. So what you do is, if you want to talk to chiropractors in Peru, then what you do is you go over to LinkedIn, you search for chiropractors in Peru. You got a list of 300, 400. You got their name, you got their location. Then you look for them on Facebook, and you reach out to them there. So you're using both of them, and they just added their own instant video chat, so that so they're taking the best elements of Facebook, and they're adding and they're making them available. Only on LinkedIn you have 800 million professionals. Last year, 2 years ago, MySpace, LinkedIn was adding roughly 3 to 4 million new users a month. 10 million last month. The last 90 days, LinkedIn has literally added 30 million new people. That's how much they've increased and improved. Let me share one little tidbit of information. There's a way, and I'm going to share this with you tomorrow, George. You're going to go crazy. Where you can go in and you could connect, you could search for the people that just joined LinkedIn. Now, how many people joined LinkedIn yesterday? How many people joined LinkedIn in the last 30 days? You can go back as far as 90 days. Now, when you think about it, why do people join LinkedIn? Why would a person put their profile up there? Most people do it because they're looking for a job, or they're getting ready to look for a job, so they put it up there. And so a significant number of the people that are joining LinkedIn are doing it because they're looking for, or they're getting prepared to look for work. Now, a significant number of people are joining LinkedIn because they know it's a target-rich environment. So they're going on there to sell. So it's a 50-50 proposition, but all you have to do is read the profile, and you're going to know what their agenda is, and you could take the appropriate steps. And when you reach out to these people first, you're going to get them before they get buried with solicitations from the sharks that are on LinkedIn that are just going nuts, connecting with people. So that's what I'm going to share that with you later. You're going to go crazy. Now, the one thing I have to say, and this is one of the reasons why I asked George, to be on the first one, is because, this is a wonderful industry. There are some great people in it, and there are some people that, they need to be strung up. And there are a lot of people in this business that give this business a bad name. If I had to list the 10 people that I have met in the last 26 years, he'd be in the top 10. He's honest. He what he will do for his team, for his people, boggles my mind. He's all about sharing, teaching, training, and supporting, and he's innovative too. In his last company, he was loved and adored, not just because he could help everybody that wanted to, break into the Spanish market. I mean, he was so gracious with his time, sharing information with everybody in the company, and a lot of leaders don't do that. So, George, I really, really appreciate you're being the first one. I think we're probably going to want to do this again, and we got to work on transmission because maybe you're doing it from home, or but you're not as crisp and you're not as clear as I am. As a matter of fact, I kind of wish I was as I was doing it like you were doing it, so people wouldn't see all the lines on my face. Uh, but the person that we're going to bring on next is a young man that I worked with actually before George. Although George was doing it, I didn't know he was doing it. And here's a young man that I was teaching how to use AOL. And last year he came back into network marketing and using. We're gonna let everybody hear his story. But last year in November, Francisco had a group of 200 people, and he started to go after seasoned, experienced network marketers that were unhappy. So he had 200 people on his team, and 200 people on his team in November, and he had two unhappy network marketers. All right. Today, he has 22 unhappy network marketers in his business, leaders, and he has 7,500 people on his team. And it would even be higher now if he didn't get he got sick, so he was he was on vacation for a month and then he came back and he got sick, or he'd probably have about 10,000. But he's on fire, his group is on fire, and they're all doing, they're all connecting with the right people, and they're following in George's footsteps. And for the first time in Francisco's career, he has finally achieved a level of success that most people dream about, and he's not doing anything different than what I taught him to do on AOL. He's not doing anything different that George is doing. Only George gets to do it in multiple languages. And so George, I can't appreciate, you're coming, making yourself available, especially on some short notice. We're going to have to do this again.
Yes.
Just when, we can, do it. And so it's a lot clearer, but there's a lot of people, and again, I gotta, let me open up Francisco. And here we've got Francisco. So we've got we've got an old timer, and then we have, Francisco. So I got to tell you, as I am so proud of this young man, and like I kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit. But Francisco, why did you originally get into network marketing? What was the allure for you?
Well, good afternoon, Max, and good afternoon, George. It was great being here with you guys on this beautiful Friday this afternoon. One of the reasons why I got into network marketing was just to make a little extra money. I just graduated from college. My wife and I were going out. We're single lover birds. Just barely got a job, and we just wanted to make some little extra money so we can have for Friday and Saturday night to go out dancing to the bars. Then the money became a little bit extra. Started making some more money, and we first noticed in one of our companies that you knew, Prepaid Legal, we started seeing some residual income. So from that residual income, it started paying our rent, started paying our car payment, electricity, you name it, and that's when we started saying, oh wow. So after about maybe 5-7 years later, we started getting a little bit burned out with how the industry was, and you and I shared. But I really couldn't do this without your, and it just did. It just clicked. It just clicked one day until I started. Max, personal question. You say, go ahead. can I use your script because they're so good? It goes, yes, you can. Why not? You can copy it.
We're having a little bit of a trans.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's one of the reasons why I got into network marketing, just to get a little extra cash in our pockets and, have some money to going out on the weekend.
Mhm. Now, last year, I think I think it was at like maybe June. You sent me a message. You said, "Hey, I'm getting back into it again," and then you sent a message during one of my trainings, and you said, my first week back, I signed up like 18 or 19 people, and everybody on the webinar went nuts. How did he do it? And I explained to them that you've got a big following, and you use a strategy that it's all about conversations. If you could have 20 conversations with people, and if you're talking to the right people, they're going to come into your business. And then in October, you sent me another one and say, hey, I just did another 14 or 15. But it was in November that you sent me that first message there where you had enrolled two people that together were making $1 million in the company. And everybody on the training went wild. They're going, how did he do that? And I said, well, he's following so, he's basically doing what I'm teaching you to do. And then in December, you sent me another message just to keep me informed, was that those two guys brought in another 3 whales. And your team, is growing, and you've been, keeping, you've been keeping me up to date on what's been happening. And again, um, when we're reading the messages, it's like I'm just teaching them what you taught me to do. So how's that been working for you?
Well, it's working very well. And everyone who's watching this, I've been doing it for 22 years. I'm 44 years old, and I am a dinosaur in your courses because I've been doing it for 22. That's 22 years of making mistakes, trying to figure everything out, trying to know how I get it right, showing up to your trainings, listening to you real closely. So when I came back, you're right. I've already had some following. I already knew who I was networking, and I just started using some of the scripts. Hey, I'm back. Check this out. Blah blah blah. But it wasn't the breakthrough where I said, enough is enough. I'm going to talk to these whales. I don't have any problem speaking to them. And you and I know that I was involved in politics, still involved, and I had no problem speaking to people who had big pockets. So I said, you know what? I'm going to test this out. Let's go. Let's go after these whales. And I grabbed after these whales. And after I got these 2 whales, I was super excited. I mean, super excited that I just started going more. And then as we started talking a few days ago, I'm at 22 whales. And I didn't just grab the magic wand and just it happened overnight. No, this happened 20 plus years of learning your course, learning your system, learning your information in and out, testing it out, not only in network marketing, testing out other things, and just building my communication skill.
There was one thing that I kind of kept. I didn't talk about it, but what he did was he approached these whales, these people with large circles of influence. And so what he would say to them, and he could tell just by looking at their profiles on LinkedIn that they didn't have a clue as to what they were doing. So first he identified, that they were in a business, they weren't happy with it, they would be open to looking at something else. And then what he said to me, he says, listen, I, and this is him, I know how social media works. Okay. I got this down. I am the man when it comes to doing this. And he says, and he told him, I remember he told the first two, he said, listen, I am a protege. Yeah. Oh, Debbie. Everybody, my wife just walked in. He said, I am a pro. He says, thank you so much. He says, I'm a protege of Max Steingart. He says, everything that Max knows, he's taught me. And he's my mentor. He says, I have got this. And so what he did was he just went, he said, listen, and he gave him a little, he said, look, he probably gave them one action to take. He says, go ahead and change your picture on Facebook and see what happens. Go ahead and make a post and see what happens. Or make your birthday on Friday and see what happens. Right? And so they're doing it. And oh my God, they've got all these people to talk to. And so he started feeding them the same scripts, George. They haven't changed since AOL. And they started having success. So they jumped into business with them. And they're all coming back and saying, man, we can't believe how fast this whole thing is going. So now that they're comfortable with it, they like the company George's Francisco's in, and now they can help their people become successful using social media. So now they brought over more whales. In the meantime, he's going out, and now he's got a story. And every message he sent me, Max, I'm up to 10, 3 months later, I'm up to, my 5 whales are now 10 whales. And everybody is using the scripts and the strategies, and it's working. And then I started to see, and everybody loves me, loves him. They don't know who I am. He's teaching them everything that I've taught him. Everybody loves him. He's on the speed dial of the owner of his company because he's growing so fast and it's duplicating, so quickly. And all he's doing is he's teaching them the basic concepts of first make yourself visible, and then start talking to people. And I'm thrilled for him, and I'm thrilled for everybody that is watching this broadcast. Okay. Because if you want to know how to do it, you can reach out to me. Hey, reach out to George, reach out to Francisco. They are living proof of how social media can change your life when it's used correctly, change it quickly, and put people in a money-making position faster than most people can believe. So now, in June, Francisco had 2,000 people on his team. He went from 200 in November, 2,000 in June, and he had 6,000 in September, and now he's up to 7,500. So when you can bring people into a business and give them something to do that's duplicatable, something that they can do, I mean, let's face it, now that we do this visual stuff, you got to comb your hair, you got to dress up a little bit, but for the most part, you could do this in a bathrobe. And so I am thrilled after 25 years of frankly pioneering or playing a pioneering role in social media. I've had the pleasure of watching companies embrace social media where before they used to tell their people you can't use it, don't use it. So we're going to be doing more of these every Friday. I'm going to invite another top earner. Some of them are icons of the industry. Some of them are legends in the industry, and we're gonna talk to them, and we're gonna find out what they're doing, how social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, how it's helped them. And if you're going to get into a network marketing business, Number one, there's three things. Number one, if you want to really be successful, number one, you have to find a company where you're passionate about the products and you're passionate about the company. Number one, passionate to the point where you tell people about it, even if you weren't getting paid. Then the next part of it is you have to find somebody in the company to work with, shop for a sponsor, find somebody that is a leader, somebody that you can work with, that you like, that likes you, and that will be there to help you, get started. And the third thing that you really need, and I remember when George left his last company and he's out looking for a new company, one of the things that was key for him was he needed a company that had good internet tools. I mean, there's some wonderful companies out there, have great products. People love them. They've been around for 20, 30 years. They don't have internet tools. So find a leader, find someone that's got good internet tools, and and master the process. And the one thing that I wanted to just add is it doesn't have to take you 20 years to learn how to do this. It really doesn't. I mean, there are people that are picking this stuff up, within 30 days or 90 days. They're going to the top of the business. And anyway, George, I really appreciate your, especially being able to do this on so last minute. And we're gonna have to coordinate. We're gonna have to coordinate the, the quality of, our broadcast. And I'm gonna make sure I have to lock my wife up. So let me look here and let me see. There you go. Yeah. So again, I'm really thrilled that you were able to make it. And anything you want, anything else you'd like to share with everybody about network marketing or about your experience?
Sure, just one thing. Yeah. Oh, it's muted. I'm muted.
No, we can hear you.
Oh, see, yeah. Oh,
yeah, we can. We can hear you.
Oh, I thought you could hear me. First of all, it's interesting. I have the other screen. I have this is LinkedIn. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, here. Yeah, I have LinkedIn because I was curious, but that's the cool thing. This is an example. Your business, for those of you old timers, a few years ago, you couldn't do any of this. And when Max is talking about the tool, see what happened with this guy. I mean, he exploded. In 1 year, he has 7,000 people. I was looking at the numbers. He has 7,500 right now. In the old way of network marketing, you couldn't build so quick unless you have tremendous relationships. And something that you said is about learning. You can learn one tool and you can apply it right away. And you can start seeing some results. You don't have to wait 30 days. It's 30 days for big results, obviously. But one tool, one thing that you learn, you can use it right now. It could be a conversation. It could be how you're going to post, and do it now. And then tomorrow you do it again. And if you have already a team, teach one or two of your people, hey, let's do a post together. Let's like each other post too. Let's start doing this. Let's start connecting with people. That's the way that you start spreading out, because you are by yourself. And then as soon as you have one or two people, those two people, you tell them, let's do it now. And then you have 4 and 6, and suddenly you have hundreds of people or even thousands of people that are posting and connecting people in social media. And that's when suddenly it becomes a momentum. You start like here, and then suddenly you start going higher and higher and faster, because you have more and more people that are doing the same things that you are doing. And it's simple. It's a question of repetition, repeat, until you get to the point that if you don't do it one day, you are going to feel sick and guilty. You want to get to that point where you feel guilty one day. Holy, even on vacation, it happened to us. We went by the water in a house that we rent, and I was feeling itching because I said I have to do something. My wife was laughing because she's the same as me too. She's great also in social media. But when you get to that point, that's the point that you want to get there, because then when you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that are the same as you, it's game over. depending on your pay plan, but it's game over. You're going to be a 6-figure or multi-6-figure or 8-figure, 7-figure, or even 8-figure, because everything's possible in this profession.
You know, I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated because you held up the LinkedIn. You know, this is a changing environment, and somebody once asked me, actually about 6 months ago, why do I keep doing this? And I said, you know, because I don't have to. I'm fascinated by how the industry changes. It's not the same every day. We're constantly adapting and adjusting. And I was fascinated with the way what LinkedIn does with these LinkedIn broadcasts. You know, they take that cover that you have on your profile, and it's right there. So and you know, it may change, but as more and more people do it, but whatever, all the things that you do to build your business on Facebook, LinkedIn has made it possible to do over there, and you know, and build an audience and host events that will benefit so many people. So, you know, again, George, thank you very, very much for, you know, participating. This we'll probably look back at this first broadcast, you know, probably in a month, but for sure, you know, a year from now. And, you know, George had mentioned that, you know, he's got some of my original old CDs or discs. And when you go and listen to them, even though the platform is different, even though the description of how you set up your profiles are different, the concept of talking to people hasn't changed. And that's, you know, the whole process. So thanks for coming. We're going to be doing like these every Friday, and I promise you we'll get better with the quality of the transmission. So until next time, again, thanks again, George. I'm going to call you as soon as I know what my wife's schedule is for me.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
give you a call. And for the rest of you, again, I hope I got to figure out how to get out of this. You know, and again, I got to tell you something. See, I'm the type of a person. I only learned how to use this about 4 days ago, obviously. And but I'm fortunately I'm surrounded by some very, very talented people that are helping me. And then once again, the process is basically the same. So, oh, my wife's going to be happy about that. So again, we're gonna, as soon as we can figure out how to get out of this, let me hit the maybe let me do it up here. Boy, this, you know, I got to tell you something. The guys that edit my videos are gonna have a field day with this one. Let me see. How do I get out of this? Hit the escape button. There we go. There we go. Anyway, want to welcome all again. Welcome. Let's see. Again, we'll catch up to you next time.
Yes, perfect.